Self-contained diving is in the midst of a technological revolution that is changing the way we think about diving. Similar to the PC in the world of computing, technologies and methods once limited to commercial and military applications are now being rescaled and applied to sport and special interest diving, driven by the need for increased safety and performance. How will this revolution affect sport diving? Is mix the wave of the future? Is it safe? What about rebreathers or communications? And how about dive computing? What does the future hold? In January of 1993, a few days before DEMA show, a unique conference got underway in Orlando, Florida to try and answer some of these questions. Organized by AquaCorp, the Journal for Technical Diving, with sponsorship from Dive Right Manufacturing and National Drieger, the 1993 TEK Conference provided a forum for nearly 600 individuals on the cutting edge of diving to come together to discuss and learn about the subjects that matter to them most. For 2 days, industry leaders, scientists, vendors, dive operators, and divers from all over the planet got the chance to explore these questions and to communicate just what AquaCorp's publisher and conference organizer Michael Menduno had in mind.
I think the biggest thing is cross-pollinization. You know, we have all these groups that have come together, the military people, police and rescue, the sport divers, cave divers, wreck divers, scientific divers. And for a long time, I think some of these communities have talked about a lot heaven, and so I think we're seeing this just great, geez, they're doing what we're doing, a communications orgy, if you will, and cross-pollinization of ideas. A lot of the problems that one group's trying to solve, the wreck divers, someone else maybe have already solved it. You know, the commercial divers are how they do a particular thing with tools. So I think there's a lot of technology transfer going on, really. And that's what this is about, I think. Diving for, I think, all the people here, it's a job, it's a hobby, but it's a passion. You know, people here are seriously interested in diving and diving technology. It's the technology maybe that brings us together, and then the spirit that kind of unites us. We're going to learn and get access to new tools and better methods and improvements. After that, I think a lot of what we do as the technical community as large, you know, I think a lot of the ideas and tools will come out and eventually enhance recreational safety, you know, because we're the people who are serious about safety. That's why people are here. So this is the hotbed of diving, and I think everybody can benefit from it on that level. On another level, I think it's a great human exploration. It's kind of like you know, we're doing it again. 50 years ago when Jacques made TV in his books, you know, it just excited and gave vision to a whole generation of people. And I think that's what's happening again. It's like the future really is unlimited, and we can go as far as our imagination can take us.
TEK 93 was a communication method to do in a personal way what AquaCorp magazine tries to do in the printed word. I saw this as two different opportunities. One, of course, to fire people up and on both the need for the proper training and equipment and so forth, without being too enthusiastic about drawing them into something they may not be able to handle. In other words, the line is we've got to try to talk them out of it. If they can be talked out of it, then we should do that. If they can't be talked out of it, then we should show them how to do it right. That's one of our objectives.
Among the workshops, panels, exhibits, and offline conversations, TEK provided an opportunity for some of the who's who of diving to bring their cards and lay them on the table. Who responded to the invitation? Let's have a look.
My name is Lamar Hires, and I'm the Vice President for Dive Right Manufacturing Incorporated. I'm also the training chairman for the National Speleological Society Cave Diving Section, and I've been a board member of that organization going on now for 8 years. This is where the serious divers are, and our product line is for the serious divers. And to be involved with this, you know, is just that kind of commitment on our part. The open water divers are more concerned about what color snorkel's coming out this year, rather than how good a performance this regulator is going to give me at a certain depth. And that's where we fit in as far as, you know, we're concerned about the serious diver who wants equipment that will perform, and is just not concerned about what color or style it is. And so that's why we're here.
First of all, this technical diving is not completely safe. This isn't sitting in a lazy boy with a six-pack of beer watching a ball game. And what we're talking about is relative safety. And TEK is about trying to improve that, improving communications. The difference between conventional diving and technical diving, it's like going from a two-dimensional object to a three-dimensional object. There's a tremendous, it becomes much more complex, and we're experiencing growing pains right now. We haven't done enough technical diving that we have enough information to draw upon where everyone is in agreement as to what needs to be done.
There's an awful lot of brain power in the room assembled here, which is excellent. And I think the conversations and exchanges have been nothing but objective. Solutions, I think, will come from that type of dialogue, understanding perspective, interest in future direction. And what's happening is ideas are exchanging, problems are being identified. Certainly not all solutions are in place, but at least possible approaches to solutions are in their initial stages of discussion. So that part is really rewarding. One of the reasons that we came was because we hoped it would be that way. In fact, it's met those expectations. That's great.
We've always wanted to go deeper and probably go further, but safety is of the utmost importance. I have a family, I have a business, and I want to come back. So we're always trying to look at ways that we can plan to do or execute a particular dive as safely as possible. But we are running into some technological barriers. There are certain things that are holding us back, such as gas supplies. Right now we're at the point where we physically can't seem to transport enough gas back into a system that allows us to do a lot more than a lot of people have already done before. Until we can bring on some of the closed circuit technology that I think is going to be very important.
Well, I work for National Drigger out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and serve at the moment as part of the research and development of National Drigger for the diving industry, as far as military diving equipment, including oxygen rebreathers such as this unit, life vests, and anything else that pertains to that portion of the market. Well, the TEK 93 show, from our standpoint, has been interesting so far, simply because in order for us to actually gauge the strength or the size of a market, we've obviously got to be somewhere to show equipment. And most of the other diving shows that are associated or found here in the States are typically sport diving shows where we're not necessarily going to get the feedback that we need to determine whether there's actually a market for us or not.
Myself and Dr. Youngblood were talking about this morning, and we go back together a long ways in diving physiology from the first 1,000-foot dives we made in the 70s at Duke University. And the one thing that both of us commented on was how similar this was to what was going on 20, 25 years ago. You're seeing the same level of interest now and the same sort of dedication in the tech divers, the guys that are coming to these things, as we did in the deep commercial diving days, 20-odd years ago. It's all new. But there are some of us that have been around a long time that are willing to, everything we know, we're willing to share. And we're actually learning a lot. As I've said, we were sort of sitting around you guys' campfires and listening to your stories and telling our own, but we're learning a lot from so it's nice to see some of my old cronies coming out of hiding and saying, gee, this is really wild stuff. I've got a lot to tell them, but I've got a lot to learn from them also.
You got some great people already involved in technical operations. What was beneficial was just bringing them together. They communicate anyway, but maybe they needed the impetus of this kind of a meeting to help crystallize a plan of action. And that's, I think, what's happened here. Today I saw a plan of action being born that in itself will become a means to address all these things, a means to hopefully solve some problems. And that in itself is a big, without the means, there can be no solutions. So that's what I saw happen today.
Because of the anarchic nature of a lot of us, I mean, we're cave divers, we're solo divers, we're people who have been, largely inventing our own rules. We're now in the stage of authorizing that, producing the written version of the Bible, if you like. And there's a lot of disagreement because people have had a way that suits them. They've developed a set of safety standards that are perfectly applicable to themselves. And we're now having to think, how are those standards applicable to other people? Where does the common ground lie? And I guess that's what a conference like TEK 93 is all about, and it's doing it at the moment very, very well indeed.
I'm the Southeast Regional Sales Manager for Haskell Incorporated. We are participating in the TEK 93 conference here to kind of watch, listen, and answer questions and clear up misconceptions that people may have had in the application of our air-operated gas booster in the diving industry. Well, I have a personal interest in it myself because I'm a diver myself, so I'm naturally interested in all the aspects of what goes into technical diving. As far as Haskell's concerned, it is another source of revenue, and it's important to us, although it's small in comparison to our main business. It's nonetheless very important, and we'd like to stay in touch with the dive industry and make sure that they have no misconceptions of our equipment and the proper use of it. And we'd also like to keep an open ear to see what it is that they're interested in, so that if we need to make some new developments to address certain issues that they have, that we know what's going on and we can respond.
My name is Jay Jeffries. I'm Director of Special Projects and Engineering at Diving Unlimited International, better known as DUI, or DUI. Being at a facility like this, I actually enjoy more than, say, DEMA, because I meet people that have similar interests or different interests, and I gain a better understanding of what other people are doing. The reason we come to shows like TEK 93 is we have, number one, a very qualified audience. The people know what's happening, and they're out there on the edge, and DUI has always been at the forefront of technology, and people catch up with us a few years later. The other thing is the people, they don't have any problems, they have issues, and it's an opportunity to learn what those issues are, and it's a potential product that we can bring out to more people to solve their issues.
And whenever you get several hundred underwater experts together, you're going to have issues ranging from fundamentals to physiology, computing to dive politics. TEK covered it all. Controversy? In some circles. Agreements? A few. Above all, people talked and the ideas flowed. Education, training, standards, safety. These were the issues on people's minds. Here are some of what was said.
I think most of the people here do take to heart the safety message, and that's why they're here. And I think by seeing some of the tools that are available and the methods that people are using, because we all have the same problems. Ladd Handelman, commercial diver, said to me the other night, you know, it doesn't matter. To the ocean, they don't care what kind of diver you are, recreational diver, commercial diver, technical diving, you know, it'll kill you just the same. So I think we have a commonality in that, and I think what we're doing here, what's happening here, can only improve that safety. And I think that's one of the reasons people are here.
I feel there are like three categories of divers. And there are commercial divers who actually dive for a living. There are military divers who dive because it's their job. And then there are sport divers. And sport diver is a person who doesn't actually do it for money, he does it for fun. And then you break down sport divers into the recreational diver who does it for the enjoyment with no real commitment in terms of getting into it. They take a class and they enjoy doing diving vacations. When that commitment evolves, then they move into the technical realm, because now the commitment in terms of equipment, the investment, there has to be more than just, you know, going diving with a single tank. So they move from recreational to technical once there's a real commitment to diving. I think that's the big change right there. Well, now people are just going deep to do it. And it's taken away from what originally, what it was, you know, why they were deep diving. And fatalities have started coming back. And it's the #1 cause of fatalities in the cave diving community is deep diving. So there needs to be some more education, and not so much a lackadaisical attitude about deep diving as the way it is right now. People don't really look at the seriousness of it. I hope TEK 93 can bring out, you know, how serious it is to do this and the type of preparation you need to do deep diving.
I think that there is a core of individuals in the community that have evolved in diving through the school of hard knocks. They learned how to dive, and then as they got experience, they realized that they learned how to survive. And I think that there's a consensus amongst that entire community that training does not replace experience, nor does experience replace training. And now that that whole community has evolved and has brought this training to the people that want to do it, the recreational community is now seeking out that training, and there's something lacking there, and it's called the experience.
The main issues that are being discussed here at TEK 93 that are important to us is that we have people setting standards or trying to set standards that do not do our type of diving. They're not familiar with the problems we're having in the field. You have people in clear water, black water, rough water, and they're not coming to the people that are doing the type of diving and asking the questions. They're trying to say, in hindsight, that this is what should be done because this gentleman died or this person died. They don't know what's going on in the field.
My name is Jim Baden. I own Scuba Adventures Unlimited, Inc. in San Bernardino, California. I'm in the retail business and training not only recreational divers but technical divers as well. My primary focus has been on training. Training of divers to attempt technical diving has been my focus for several years now. And what I've seen, not only in the technical diving community, but also in the divers that want to go into the technical diving community, is that many of them lack the basic fundamental training necessary to be able to take this type of sport and do it with a relative degree of safety. From a technical standpoint, I've seen a lot of divers that are doing technical diving that do not have a basic foundation for their training. I must make an emphasis on the point of training and experience. Experience is great. It leads you to the knowledge of a dive site, of your performance in the water as far as skills. But training is all about planning for an emergency. When emergencies happen, those that have trained for it are those that survive. Those that haven't are those that usually bite the bullet.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference in the people who are writing standards and the people who are out there trying to teach them. One of the problems with technical diving is that it's so new. I think we need to go back and look at history. It's so new and it's such on ground floor that everybody and their brother wants to get in on it, and it's becoming a very political thing. And everybody wants to have their name as being the one who set the standards and done this and done that.
There seems to be a gap there as far as where you can get experience to qualify for the technical diving or the extended range diving, whatever you prefer to call it. The recreational industries for years have done a very good job as far as taking basic information and creating competent, very restricted competency, let's say, in different areas such as wreck diving, deep diving, which is all the 130, 130-foot, single tank, no decompression limits. What we're finding is there's a big area there, a gray area, between where you can move from that recreational to the technical.
Well, like running a boat, you see a lot of different people in different fields. You see the novice and you see the high-tech diver. Where like there's a gap is right now is training has not come close to keeping up with technology. We have all this technology available to us, and training there's just no training available for it. Not even dive computers. You have these guys that are certified to go to 130 feet, no decompression, but they have this computer that says they can go to 330 feet for up to 199 minutes, and so some of these people are doing that. But we also need to define technical diving. What is technical diving?
Well, I think that a lot of the people who are and have been for a number of years heavily involved in technical diving are very safety oriented. So I think the technical community has operated very quietly and very efficiently, been very safety conscious. The last few years, again with some of the marketing and promotional efforts into the recreational or consumer's mind, have caused the confusion and perhaps without the infrastructure, some of the controversy. So that's where part of maybe the dilemma had emerged from. A quiet community that operated very safely for the most part and effectively, then being shaken up by certain marketing efforts, promotional efforts, in almost a mass appeal attempt to the general public to come join them. There have been certain things that were advertised that I think created some confusions. Deep records on air, deep records on trimix, other types of things in the consumer audience reemerged the last few years. And maybe in the diver's mind they became new goals to shoot for, the new mark of a real diver, which conflicted with what people are taught in recreational courses, that we have a 130 feet or 40-meter limit, we dive air repetitively within the no-stage decompression range for fun and pleasure. And so some of that conflicting messaging, I think, is of concern for everyone, recreationally and technically, that does not have mass appeal. It's really a niche.
We're doing things that some people aren't happy with. We're not doing it terribly well. There have been a lot of accidents, but we have the technique, the talent, and the desire. We have to marshal our resources because there's no real source of money. You know, there's no government. If the government's going to get involved, it's going to be to make trouble. You know, here I'm from the government. I'm here to help you. But I think that because these people want it to happen and they don't want to lose their friends or themselves, that they'll get the resources to do this and they'll make it more efficient. As that happens, it will probably be a little less exciting for some people. But this is not the place for macho man. This is the place for somebody who's willing to do it right. And I think that we're going in the right direction. I think that there's a need for peer pressure to get people to do it right. There's a need for peer support, share information at the level of the supplier and the training group and the manufacturer, and at the level of the actual person who does it, the diver.
I think what needs to be done right now is we need to take an honest look at why we're promoting technical diving, mixed gas in particular. Are we doing it actually to promote safety, or are we doing it for profit? And I think that we need to all take a hard look at that. Mixed gas certainly has its place in certain applications and dives, but it's not necessarily the way of the future. I also think we need to downplay it a little bit. Some of the newer people coming around are getting the impression you're not really a diver or a hardcore diver unless you dive below X amount of feet, X amount of gases, all these bells and whistles. It's a double-edged sword, and it's just as dangerous as it is just as safe. It can go either way, and you need to look at your motivation. Why are you doing this? Do I have a genuine need for this gas, or am I doing it because everybody else is doing it? And I think that's a big problem. I don't think safety is the main issue here. I really don't. I think the main issue is we really need to look at our motivations of why are we doing what we're doing. Safety, you'd be stupid not to be safe.